I'm not in the I'm not in the wrong party. I think maybe when they want to say to Sowore, my friend, maybe you should market the party more, not to be like a one-person party and more, and tell us all come and join.
All right.
Sowore, the presidential candidate of the AAC party, has spoken today and tell Aisha Yesufu that she is into a wrong party. So Aisha Yesufu also replied him, "So you are welcome to Nigeria Trending Now station. So make sure you subscribe to this channel, like this video and comment. What's your thoughts? What's your take on what Sowore said?"
Well, it needs no introduction. Sowore is a former presidential candidate, perhaps running again under the AAC, an activist. He wears many caps. Mr. Sowore, thank you for coming on the program. Good morning.
Good morning.
Let's begin with, I think if I saw a video online that I saw you in church. I don't know how many times I've seen you in church, so it was quite a different set altogether to see you. But it's an advocacy that took you there about this issue around Jabi Lake. I understand that the pastor of that church, I think Pastor Sarah, had actually added her voice to what the minister is planning to do, maybe take over the land for other purposes. But you've also added your voice to it in support of our advocacy. But for the people who don't live in Abuja, who don't even understand what this is all about, maybe let's start from there before we get to politics.
Well, I heard about the takeover of Jabi Lake Resort by the minister. He had gone there, petitioned the park, and I heard they had shared it amongst themselves. You know, they always use third parties in assigning and allocating land to themselves illegally. So when I saw that she was praying about it in her church, I saw the clip. I asked a friend of mine to contact her if we could come to the church and make a presentation about how to make that prayer a reality. That's what took me to church. Typically, I don't like going to church, especially during political seasons. I don't like the hypocrisy of politicians running to church just to deceive church members who don't actually see them after the political season is over. But this is an advocacy that was very dear to my heart as an environmentalist myself. And the fact that this FCTA minister has completely ruined the master plan in Abuja by allocating public parks to his friends and cronies was the reason I went there. It's not for Jabi Lake alone. If you go into the city, we went around yesterday. A lot of these public parks has been taken over by the minister and converted to residential real estate developments that are at variance with, international best practices and also the Abuja master plan itself, heavily distorted by his actions.
Oh, interesting. We're going to keep following up on that. But let's talk politics. Let's talk a bit of politics. Let's stay with your party for a moment. What is going on with the AAC? We can see other political parties, doing national convention. Primaries is up for, I think, every party has from now to May the 30th to decide who is going to be their candidates across board. So what's the plan for the AAC? And I want to suppose perhaps you're running again, so you also maybe bring that clarification. Let's talk about your party for a moment. What's the plan?
Well, the AAC, the African National Congress, already had its convention November last year. So we have concluded a national convention. We are now going to primaries, and just like other parties, we will have our primaries towards the end of May. Every political party must have its primary, party primary by the end of May. So for states, I think we're going to have on the 21st, 22nd, and 23rd, and for national will be between 25th and 26th. Taking into consideration some of these religious calendars that are public holidays, and then there's also Children's Day coming up. So that will be done soon, but we have already submitted our membership register. An update will be submitted today because people were still registering, and there's still an update till today, May 10th. And the primaries for the party will then take place, will follow. Yes.
Mr. Sowore, before I hand over to my colleagues, let's talk about the strategy. History has shown us, at least from 1999, which is the very recent history everybody can relate with, it's really very challenging and difficult to unseat an incumbent. Not because it's not possible. It is very possible. We've seen an incumbent being unseated, but it had to come through a merger that formed the APC in 2013 up all the way to 2015. And then we've also seen towards this election, their coalition, even though that coalition is now depleted between the ADC and the NDC. If you want to be president, or the AAC intends to, within this dispensation, get the office of president of the Federal Republic, why are you not talking to other political parties to see how you can coalesce, to see what you can do as an opposition party or opposition parties, to see how you can form a front and face the ruling party?
Well, I think the last time I was here, or like last few times I was on your show, the conversation was about joining these coalitions. You always throw them at me. Why are you not in ADC? Why are you not in... And I told you then, and it has come to pass, that they are not coalitions. These are just interest groups and persons who are interested in power. The real coalition that needs to happen, even the 2015 coalition you are talking about, wasn't just the merger of these political parties that made it happen. It was that the Nigerian people were tired of the People's Democratic Party at that time and decided that they would ease them out of power. So the coalition that you mentioned at that time, the APC, merely rode on the back of public discontent. Public discontent has reached the highest level of decibel now. But what is different is that you can't deceive people with a coalition anymore. So you're going to set up a coalition made up of the people who took Nigeria to where it is now, and you're talking to political parties whose only interest is to grab power. Nigerian people, I think, are wiser than that. What I've maintained on your show consistently is that there's a coalition to be made with the oppressed, the people who are cheated, the people who are disenfranchised, the people who are disenchanted with the system. And they are bigger than the political parties you call coalition. The latest coalition, which is the end, is not even a coalition. It's a political party that came into existence by way of a court order obtained from, I think, Kogi State. That's the NDC. It's actually not a coalition. It's owned by an individual, the former governor of Bayelsa State. So you can't call that a coalition. Our party, the African Action Congress, has been in existence in 2018. It's gone through some of the roughest patch of political existence. And we have maintained and consistently told you that the solution to our problem is not to be looking for coalitions of people who destroyed your past, who you now want to entrust with your future, but that we can form a coalition of the people of this country who are desirous of liberation, who want to have economic progress, who want to send their children to school, and who want to live in peace and security, both national, economic, and infrastructural security in this country. That is what we're about, not to find ourselves in coalitions that are happening today and by next tomorrow it has collapsed. Those are not coalitions. Those are just desperate groups of persons whose only intention and goal is to grab power. We are not interested in that. And we have stated this on your show repeatedly. And so many of the things I predicted here have come to pass. One of it is that these coalitions are not genuine. They are not organic. They're just disparate individuals, carpetbaggers and gerrymanders who are interested in your resources and how they can lay their hands on it next time around. And that the one in existence, you call it's a coalition. Look at what it has done to Nigeria since 2015. That's the APC.
And so, Mr. Sowore, some would wonder if your Puritan approach to politics would work, really. I know that we've had this conversation time and again. Whether or not you disagree with, the value or lack of it that the party that adopted the quote-unquote coalition approach has delivered on its promises, it was able to secure power as a result of coming together in what is now the popular merger of 2013. So we have not actually seen strength in your party structure throughout the federation. That's on the one hand. And we wonder if you can translate the strength of your activism and social media following to victory at the polls, in case there are people watching and they're saying that, oh, we want to queue behind Sowore and see, okay, if he can actually deliver on the promised transformation that Nigeria is looking for. So what strategy do you have as an alternative if you do not believe in the idea of coalition?
Okay, I have spoken to the fact that the last time you had a coalition in this country that took over power in 2015 and had remained in power since then, where did it take you? Let's be honest about our real socio-political situation. And then I'm reaching out to Nigerians. I've always reached out to Nigerians that the choice is yours. Either to choose a coalition of these very big political kahunas, or your own coalition that will take you to prosperity, peace, and security, and give you progress and peace of mind. That is a choice that people can make. You and I know that these coalitions don't mean anything. It is their own way of bamboozling you. It's their own way of browbeating you to say, well, you know, we formed a coalition and we want to take over power from the other side. But to what extent is the coalition going to deliver on education? To what extent are they going to give you roads, provide security for you, make sure that you have hospitals, you can take water from your tap and drink it, that if you take a trip from your house to the next village, you will make it, either on the road or in the hands of the people these coalitions have thrown up who are killing and destroying you? That's the question we should be asking ourselves. Nobody, in all honesty, should keep talking about structures. Sometimes have been described as structures of criminality, delivering you because they have expressed themselves in a coalition. But let's be honest, were we not talking here about coalition the last time I was here, where you were bombarding with the question, when are you going to join the ADC? Why didn't you join the ADC? Why are you no longer talking about the ADC anymore? You are now talking about NDC, which is not a coalition, but a political party of a person. Those of you who were talking about coalition are no longer talking about coalition. So can we be honest with ourselves once and for all and say, look, political parties exist to deliver power to people who have good character. Now, we have political parties or people with good character, people with tested integrity, individuals who can deliver, who have capacity, who have intellect, who also have mission, who are mission-driven and have vision, visionaries. And you are saying no, because they did not come to you in a package that you like, they cannot win power. So we can't keep giving power to those people who come in fake packages, and you keep calling on the people you said have no structure to come and help you fight them when they steal all your resources, when they kill your family members, when they detain people unjustly. You come to us to say, Mr. Sowore, why are you not fighting for this person? Why are you not fighting for this community that is under siege? Why are you not fighting for this person in prison? Why are you not helping us expose the corruption that is happening in the Mr.
Sowore,
you rely on us to do that. But when it comes to power, you said because we didn't come in the package that they taught you in government, secondary school, that is not good enough. Why can't we just make the decision once and for all to join hands together and rescue our country? Countries like Chile are doing that. They are doing that in even smaller African countries. The guy in Botswana, who I'm sure you've seen, who speaks about corruption, who speaks about transparency, did not come in any of these packages. They came as individuals with great character who can deliver their country, and the people lined up behind them. So all political parties are equal.
So you have indicated
coalition or not.
You have indicated interest in the 2027 race. I'm sure that I've read that in other platforms. So how are you going to win as a standalone candidate, delivering 176,000 polling units, I believe, in 2027?
I'm not a standalone candidate. I am a candidate I will be a candidate in the election when the party concludes its primary. And if
I mean, without any merger, without any coalition with any political party. Of course, we know that you are aspiring on the AAC.
We have a political party. Yes, we have a political party. Every other candidate is coming on the platform of a political party. In fact, there is no political party in Nigeria that is registered as a coalition. Even after they coalesce, they must present one logo, one identity, as if all political parties are equal. So don't let us confuse the public with this. I'm not standing alone. I'm standing with the Nigerian people for liberation. I'm standing with the Nigerian people for economic prosperity. I'm standing with the Nigerian people to say, look, whatever belongs to us should serve us and not serve a few. That's not a standalone candidate. So don't bring about a definition that does not exist. I'm standing against every other candidate presented by other political parties, or I will be standing against those ones. If the party presents me, I'll be a candidate, a better candidate, by the way, than any of the people presented along all those platforms.
So it's official, you're running, and you want to be president. So it's official now that you're aspiring for that job, the #1 job in this country. I've just had to look at your statements about the opposition summit where you declined that invitation in Ibadan. So let me take you up on this issue of zoning now, because for the likes of Mr. Peter Obi, he has always said that, you know what, I'm going to just do one term because it's the turn of the South, the region where you also come from. Is that also the plan for you to do a single term?
No, I am not. I've never been part of any zoning conversation. The Nigerians should stop zoning the presidency of or any particular political office to any region. They should zone it to competence. They should zone it to people with character. Yes. So because it's part of this zoning that produced some of the worst characters that have run this country. You zone to religious groups, you zone to geographical groups, you zone to ethnic groups. Look at where you are. We are not doing zoning. Our party doesn't have a zoning policy. The only zone we recognize are those zones of competence, character, integrity, intelligence, vision. We zone to the visionaries, not people who just come. And don't let anybody lie to you. There's nobody who gets power in Nigeria who wants to live in 4 years. They're just fooling those who might want to be fooled. When it comes to leadership in Nigeria, and that was why you raised the issue when you asked this question, that I said I wasn't going to be part of the Ibadan Jamboree. Oh, everybody came after me, especially those people who are in this other group. You know them. Oh, why would you say you can't be in that meeting? 3 days later, the meeting, their summit fell apart. It was summit of deceit. And I was the only person within the political realm. I don't see myself as belonging to the Nigerian political class, I saw it. That said, this is a terrible set of people. They met in Ibadan. These are the people that destroyed your country. And of course, all of them went up in arms against me. I said, oh, how dare you say that? Why didn't you attend the meeting? Oh, they didn't invite you and all that. 3 days later, the people who said that are now condemning the people who were at the summit and saying, oh, they are the bad people. Yes, they are the bad people. But when I'm
wondering why you're not mentioning who these people are, Mr. Sowore. Who are these people?
One of them is my friend. He's on your show. Aisha was the person mobilizing people for ADC. My good friend Aisha. All their group, and they were condemning me for saying that the summit in Ibadan was summit of the structure of criminality. A week later, they have started labeling the people who met in Ibadan as the people who are destroying Nigeria, except their own candidate, of course, which is the hypocrisy I don't like about them. Yes.
Yes, because you've brought Aisha into the picture, and we had on the show just a moment ago. I understand she's back with us.
I think she's still on. I see her.
Yes. So
yes.
Just maybe.
And by the way, I support the fact that she has finally joined the race to become a senator.
What's the advice you have for her?
Since 2018.
What's the advice you have for her as an activist yourself turned politician? What's the advice you have for her?
No, I totally support her. I've always told her that good people who believe that they can do things, should get into politics. She used to say that she has no business running for office. She used to condemn those of us who are activists who run for office. She doesn't want to support anybody but her own candidate, which she's entitled to. But I'm glad finally she has come to that position and the realization. I used to feel that way too before 2016 or so. That activists don't have business in politics. But, you know, the business of politics is actually the biggest activism that has to be done to save society. So I totally support her, and I hope she wins. Even though I think that she's in the wrong party. She should have joined our party.
Oh, wow.
That's an emotional party.
I like that marketing.
But, you know, yes.
All right,
she's in the wrong party. There's no question about that. Yes.
Well, I'm sure she will have time to respond if you were able to get her back on the show. Yes. Aisha, some straight questions I would like you to respond to. Some you've answered before, maybe just look at it again because no two elections are the same. If you are privileged to become Nigeria's president, say in 2027, what are the things that President Bola Tinubu has done that you totally disagree with, that you will literally almost immediately reverse, just like some of his pronouncement on this first day of office? I'm not giving any specifics now.
One of the things that reverse first is subsidy for petrol. You know, we must have something to give to the people that can help them sustain not just their businesses, but sustain themselves. I think that was a terrible decision, one of the most anti-people decisions that he took arrogantly on assumption of power. Of course, it is because they weren't voted into office by the people, so they can afford to discard them. I will restore subsidy, especially for gasoline, because it's central to the existence of millions and millions of Nigerians. And I know what to do about it. What has destroyed subsidy is corruption. It is not the idea itself. And you can't find any country in the world where there's no subsidy. The US went and started war in Iran. And when prices went up, the country's economy was tanking. And they had to intervene by providing subsidy, grants, and support to the general populace. So that's one thing. And I would also ensure that I provide, well, I won't say provide, but I restore the real value of the Naira. There was no basis for the Naira to have...
Many thanks indeed for staying with us here on the Morning Brief. So let's get to have that conversation now as we stay with politics. 2027, we're counting down. Aisha Yesufu joins us live on the program. Well, social activists turned politicians, is now a member of the NDC, but not just that, she's also gone in to become a senator. Well, Aisha, good to see you this morning. You've done a lot for yourself. Social activists, you've been very involved, speaking up for many Nigerians who don't have that opportunity. So we're really very happy that you have decided to, take the bull by the horn and make this big decision. But my question to you is very simple. How do you intend to be different? Because it looks like it's a pattern for Nigerians and our politicians. Those of your predecessors who were activists some years ago, who decided to become politicians, now their voices have become weak and really very silent. So tell Nigerians just how you intend to be different if you eventually, if and when you become senator.
Thank you very much. I must say that we are all politicians. I only decided to be partisan by joining a political party. First of all, for me, is the fact that I'm not leaving advocacy. I'm taking advocacy into politics. And some people might say, well, that's just words and all of that. But one of the things that I know for sure is that I've kept my words. I keep my words. For over a decade, I've been in the public space when I decided that I was going to start making demands and advocating. I have indeed kept my words through 3 administration, be consistent in the things that I do. But I think it's quite unfair when we continuously pick out activists, advocates, and keep saying that, oh, so and so person have been this so and so and activists have been in government and they haven't done well. Margaret Ekpo was an activist. She got into government. Fumilara Kuti was an activist who got into government. She never changed. These women never changed. And there are quite a number who haven't. We keep using the examples that we see. If, for example, I was a medical doctor sitting here, nobody is going to remind me of medical doctors who have entered into office and failed. But I do understand that. For me, I hold myself to higher standards than I hold others. And currently, like I've also put out, there are about like 7 bills that I would like to propose that basically right now are focused on Abuja people. And I could just read out some of those, the 7 bills for you to say, this is not something that wishful thinking I'm just trying to get into. We're looking at the Abuja infrastructure bill, Abuja resident security bill, Abuja resident empowerment bill, the FCTA accountability bill, you have the indigenous right and land protection bill, you have the free maternal care bill also, and the Abuja education bill. These are some of the bills that I would love to propose if given the opportunity by the people of Abuja.
Mm. So and you have decided to go for a seat that is occupied by a fellow woman, your gender as well. What happened to women supporting women?
So this is the same thing. Is this bias that I find them, a bit disconcerting, right? If I was a man sitting here, you wouldn't be asking me what happened to a man. So what happened to men supporting men?
No,
so that's
Aisha, I'm having to ask that because in the Senate, I think we have only 4 women. So the argument is that perhaps maybe you should have gone for another position, not trying to unseat a fellow woman. So that's why and I know that there's this thing which you are also very involved about the women's representation at the National Assembly.
Oh, the network. We hope we can get Aisha back as soon as possible.
Yeah, so I don't know whether it's my network.
Yeah, it's the network.
Go ahead, please.
I don't know whether it's my network. Okay, I don't know. I couldn't hear you. You were breaking at certain places. But like I was saying, so the issue is also that if it's a man, you're not going to say that what happened to men supporting men. What happened to men, deliberately say, okay, let's not take some of these things and allow women. They haven't said that is the fact that here we have democracy is about choices, right? Democracy is about it's not about coronation, and at the end of the day, it's all about whom the people feel would be able to represent them better. Senator Ireti Kingibe absolutely has my respect. She's my big auntie. She's one I respect very well. At the same time, also, it's for Abuja people to say, hey, they see what's happening right now, the situation that we have in terms of security, in terms of one chance, going on, in terms of the fact that we have a situation whereby there's no accountability, for example, from the minister, because there are no laws mandating that. The things that are on ground, in fact, in looking at the issue of insecurity that we've had to deal with, looking at the issue of infrastructure and all of that, are Abuja people satisfied with that? If they're satisfied with the current state of things, then definitely it's a democracy. They will vote for her. If they feel otherwise, then they will say, okay, let them go ahead and vote for an Aisha Yesufu. But by the way, that would happen when Aisha Yesufu, first of all, gets her the ticket of her party. So that's, for me, that's the first thing that needs to get done. But I think it's grossly unfair when we keep pitching these narratives. Nobody says what happens to men supporting men when they are running for office. Nobody says this. And so this bias is perhaps our journalists could help us by just doing away with them and just focus on the issue of what competence, what character, what capacity that candidates bring on board.
Mrs. Yesufu, I think Kelly actually explained himself about why he asked the question, and I'm not going to double down. I have another question, but he didn't get, because of the network. He was talking about the very little number of women in the House of Reps as well as the Senate. I think the Senate has between 4 to 6 women in that house, and we need more women representation. So perhaps if you had gotten to another senatorial district, if you have another, and then add to the list of people. But that's besides the point. Let's talk about one of the bills you've listed as part of your 7 bills that I'm particularly most interested in. And the reason is because of what we see as the spendings of the FCT Ministry of the Federal Capital Territory. So for instance, the minister has gotten a lot of flags for spending about 39 billion, I stand to be corrected, on renovation of the International Conference Center, which was renamed. He's been getting flags for the money spent on the vice president's residence, about 21 billion or 20 billion. And now I think I saw a bill presented to the Senate that was passed about 2.2 trillion naira fiscal year for the FCT. The money the FCT makes in a year, when you add FAC as well as maybe the IGR, I don't know whether it's up to 1 trillion naira, so I don't know what the rationale is in terms of such excesses. So that's why I'm just laying this foundation to show that issue of accountability is very important in every state and even the FCT. So what is the kind of framework that will insist that no matter what the minister is, whether it's Nyesom Wike or someone else, must be able to be accountable? So give us a mechanism of what this bill will do differently from whatever is the accountability structure of the FCT as we speak.
Okay, so basically, when you have laid down rules and regulation and laws, especially when they are codified, that says that before anything is done, these are the accountability mechanism that has to be in place. You have to be accountable to the people of Abuja. Yes, we do not have a state house of assembly that sort of like acts as a watchdog over what the executive is doing to an extent. But then for every contract that is going to be done, for every project that is put out there, for every demolition or whatever it is that has to be done, there has to be a process that are laid down and which has to be followed. And in doing so, it then ensures that there's a certain kind of limitation that is placed, on the minister, so that you don't have someone, even though this person is not voted and is not accountable to the people, but then there are laid down laws that then ensures that this person becomes accountable, to the people. Yes. And so you have the bill will go on and expatiate on that. Yeah,
because what I'm trying to say, so the budget is a spending limit structure. It's called a fiscal appropriation bill. It's a spending limit that has been put out to say we are going to spend this amount, and when we look at what we're spending, we can say this is what we'll raise, this is the deficits, and this is how we're going to fill that deficit, this is our expenditure. And then there's an appropriation act, the procurement act, that talks about how contracts are awarded, the measures and the standards and all the things that are looked at when it comes to contract. So I wanted to find out in specific terms, are you saying that, so for instance, let me give you an example. You're saying if the minister has to spend, if there's an appropriation of 2.2 trillion as it is now, if the minister has to spend anything beyond maybe 1 billion or 500 million, he has to resort back to a certain group of persons or the Senate. The checks, the nitty-gritty of that check and balance is what I want to find out I want to find out whether your bill, your proposed bill, if you make it to the Senate, captures.
Hello?
Can you hear me, madam?
Yes, I'm trying to, the network is a bit shaky. Can you go ahead? I'm trying to get...
Okay, I'll just paraphrase quickly. I was explaining, can you hear me? Let me establish that you can hear me clearly first. Can you hear me, madam?
Hello?
Well, oh dear, we hope we can you, let me try one more time. If we don't get it, we'll come back to you again. Can you hear me clearly, madam? All right, we'll come back to Madam Aisha in just a moment, but while we're trying to get that sorted audio, so what I was trying to get from her, I hope she may be listening, is the fact that when you prepare a budget, that budget has components. One of those components is the expenditure, which is the spending limit, 2.2 trillion. And of course, you're going to tell us the revenue, whether it's the FAC or the IGR. Of course, there will be deficit, how you want to fill that deficit. And then even when you're awarding contracts, there's a procurement act that guides contracts. So all of that is part of the checks and balance within the system. Somehow they don't have an assembly. So I agree with her, where the governor may have to go back and forth on certain kinds of spending, depending on the spending limits, or if he has to borrow, of course, he has to go to them. So I wanted to see in specific, if you say it's a FCTA accountability bill, what is going to be different from what we have now when you have an appropriation? Because when you go to the National Assembly, the Senate in this case, to present your budget, the first thing you would do in presenting the budget is to tell the Senate how the previous budget performed in terms of performance. So that's a form of accountability. So this bill, is it going to be a monthly accountability system, or just something legislative that will be clearly different from what we have?
And it's an important question that you asked. Yeah, I'm particularly interested in hearing her answer to find out what is in the framework of her bill that will check, spending, excess spending in projects, particularly in capital component of budget, because that's where the devil is in the detail. What is quoted as against what is released and what we find to have been spent. Is there an audit component of the bill? For instance, we've heard that a whopping 39 billion was spent on the International Conference Center. Is there an audit component on the bill to see what was in the books, for the execution of this project, such that in the future, when, subsequent executives, because the Minister of the FCT stands as a form of governor of the FCT. So in the future, when, subsequent executives are in office, they can defer to that legislation that has gone through, hopefully, all the way to the executive at the federal level and become law, such that they are now guided by this document. But really, it's an interesting, bill that she is coming up with. But how she intends to now, get it all through to the executive to ensure that it becomes law, if indeed she is elected. And in another part of the conversation, and I believe that you've had this with her, Jeffrey, is, if indeed she is elected come 2027, if the president retains his cabinet, she has one man to deal with. That's the minister of the FCTA. So what's going to be different about her approach?
Madam Yesufu,
we're told that we don't have.
Okay.
The other issues, we have other issues to discuss with her actually. The NDC convention, which held over the weekend. It's really going to be interesting to
get her perspective
on this, because one of the things that is similar between the NDC, the APC, PDP, LP, and I think ADC.
You didn't mention ADC, Kelly.
Well, I didn't mention ADC because they are yet to zone their teachers. I was going to say that.
No, they're not zoning apparently.
They're not zoning apparently. But the Labour Party, the PDP, LP, and NDC have zoned to the south. The argument for the North states that since 1999, when we returned to democratic rule, the South has, ruled for 18 years. OBJ 8 years, Goodluck 6 years. Of course, we have Tinubu now 4 years. And so, if we have another president from the South, that will be 22 years.
Yeah, that's one part of the argument.
One part of the argument. For the North, it's Buhari 8 years, and for Yar'Adua 2 years. That's one part of the arguments, because there's the rule of, before democratic rule as well, we've had other military and all of that. So it's interesting to hear her perspective.
We don't have no time now. Maybe we'll take a break. And when we come back after this break, we'll bring in our next conversation. Have you back? This is Fights to Finish. I'm happy you're back again.
Thank you so much. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you, but can you hear us? Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Great.
Yes, I was actually, just one question, if you can, just to say, what exactly will be different in this accountability bill, which I said I'm particularly interested in, and I'm sure a lot of Nigerians, and I gave you a premise of spending that needs accountability. Because when they go back to the Senate to present new budget, they will account for how they spent the previous one. There's also the Public Procurement Act that checks contracts and all of that. So I wanted specifics as to what will make this accountability bill totally different and a game changer so that there is no excessive spending.
Okay, thank you very much. So some of the things that will make it different will be the fact that the National Assembly, as well as the residents of Abuja, will have sort of like an oversight function over the ministry and what it does, the FCTA. So a limit will be capped on spending, certain spending, and it must go for the National Assembly for approval. And at the same time also, you have the Auditor General, the FCTA Auditor General, being able to check what is going on. To also have like, what do you call it, an ombudsman, like a public advocate office, where citizens can also go there, ensure giving their complaints and on the issues that are going on in terms of the contract being on or any other thing, and then there would be sort of like an investigation into those things that are going on. Beyond that also is that every contract, law must be mandated that every contract must be published on the portal, so that where citizens can go in and check everything, every spending, everything that is going on, and there should also be stages towards the award of all of this. But when we are talking about accountability, one of the things that is also very big in Abuja is on the issue of land. There should be a land register. People should know who is getting what is it about when if demolitions are going to be done, what are the things that have been put in place, where is the place, and there must be notice, sufficient notice, and there should be sort of like not at the discretion of the ministry or of those in charge of demolition, but there should be law that mandates certain number of days on the things before any demolition we go on. Yeah, so there are other just saying that.
Yeah, my apologies.
Are you saying something?
Yeah, we're totally out of time. We just needed to get your view on that.
Oh, I'm so sorry about that.
Yes, just before I let you go, 30 seconds. Sowore say you're in the wrong party. Do you agree? I'm already laughing for saying.
Well, if that's all of us.
You wanted in the AAC.
I'm not in the wrong party. I think maybe I'll say to Sowore, my brother, maybe you should market the party more, not to be like,
Let's switch gears now, and before we begin to wrap up, I'm bringing Aisha Yesufu. She was on the program, but network connection. Madam, good to have you back. This is Fights to Finish. I'm happy you're back again.
Thank you so much. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you, but can you hear us? Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Great. Yes, I was actually, just one question, if you can, just to say, what exactly will be different in this accountability bill, which I said I'm particularly interested in, and I'm sure a lot of Nigerians, and I gave you a premise of spending that needs accountability. Because when they go back to the Senate to present new budget, they will account for how they spent the previous one. There's also the Public Procurement Act that checks contracts and all of that. So I wanted specifics as to what will make this accountability bill totally different and a game changer so that there is no excessive spending.
Okay, thank you very much. So some of the things that will make it different will be the fact that the National Assembly, as well as the residents of Abuja, will have sort of like an oversight function over the ministry and what it does, the FCTA. So a limit will be capped on spending, certain spending, and it must go for the National Assembly for approval. And at the same time also, you have the Auditor General, the FCTA Auditor General, being able to check what is going on. To also have like, what do you call it, an ombudsman, like a public advocate office, where citizens can also go there, ensure giving their complaints and on the issues that are going on in terms of the contract being on or any other thing, and then there would be sort of like an investigation into those things that are going on. Beyond that also is that every contract, law must be mandated that every contract must be published on the portal, so that where citizens can go in and check everything, every spending, everything that is going on. And there should also be stages towards, the award of all of this. But when we are talking about accountability, one of the things that is also very big in Abuja is on the issue of land. There should be a land register. People should know who is getting what is it about if demolitions are going to be done, what are the things that have been put in place, where is the place, and there must be notice, sufficient notice, and there should be sort of like not at the discretion of the ministry or of those in charge of demolition, but there should be law that mandates certain number of days on the things before any demolition we go on. Yeah, so there are other just saying that.
Yeah, my apologies.
Are you saying something?
Yeah, we're totally out of time. We just needed to get your view on that.
Oh, I'm so sorry about that.
Yes, just before I let you go, 30 seconds. Showore said you're in the wrong party. Do you agree? I'm already laughing for saying.
Well, if that's all of us.
You wanted in the AAC.
I'm not in the wrong party. I think maybe I'll say to Sowore, my brother, maybe you should market the party more, not to be like a one-person party, and tell us all come and join.
All right. Aisha Yesufu, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you.
What do you have to say to this? Drop your comment in that comment section. Don't forget to like this video, share with your friend, and make sure you subscribe. Subscribe to this video. God help you as we build a good nation together, as we build a better Nigeria for ourselves, for our children, and upcoming generation. So it is our duty to make sure that this country is a good country. So don't forget to follow this channel, to subscribe to this channel, so that you can get notification whenever we uploaded another video. Thank you.